And a swell of more applause as Bridget ONeill comes to the stage.
Okay. So I was 19 when I lost my virginity. And I think I was a late bloomer. At least I felt very much like a late bloomer. And I know this because I was physically very underdeveloped and emotionally underdeveloped in every possible way. So when I say I lost my virginity at 19, it was probably more like 15. I made a very conscious decision that I did not want to be a 20-year-old virgin. And I don't think it has a lot to do with my Catholic upbringing. Actually, yeah, I guess it does. But I don't know if it did or not because I always kind of just went by my own feeling and I just don't think I was ready. But anyway, I was living in Austin, Texas, and it was 1993. And so there I was. And I guess you could say I was a student, but I was taking 6 credits at a community college. And everyone else there was like in UT, and that's where I wanted to go. To be a psych major, I wanted to go to UT. The real reason I was there was it was like the height of grunge, and I was a skateboarder, and I went there, and I just basically did that. I skateboarded, and I went to go see Daniel Johnston, and I had a lot of friends in the movie Slackers. I went to go see Screaming Trees and all these types of things. And so that's why I was there. And I just felt like I was doing my thing, and I know like back home in Pennsylvania, it was not what my parents wanted me to be doing, nor my friends, because they were like in their respected, universities and colleges at that time. But I felt like I was in the school of life out in Austin. And so there I was, and I was just like living large, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. This is where I'm gonna grow up. And so this was a very conscious decision because I had a couple more months before I turned 20, and this was a very big deal to me. And I felt the reason I wanted to lose my virginity so much is because I felt like there was like this this feeling of like it was awkward, and I felt like it was more like of a burden, and I felt like I wore it on me. Like I felt like it was just like on me, like, hi, I'm a virgin. And it was very uncomfortable, so I just wanted to get rid of it. That's romantic. And so anyway, I'm going to speed this up. So as I was taking 6 credits, I was part-time working as a waitress, and that's where I met Chet. And that's when I knew. And I was a waitress, he was a cook, and he was an older gentleman. He was a college grad, he was 24 years old. And he was tall and thin, and he had really long hair because he was in a grunge band, and he played a guitar, and he could like spin the fuck out of his hair like really, really fast, like in a circle. And I was just like, wow. And so I made my choice. And so what happened was we started dating for a little bit, and he was like really, really nice. He was like funny and silly, and we were more like friends. And I think he knew like I was a young 19-year-old, so he never really pressured me to do anything. But I was kind of sick of making the excuses of like we would get hot and heavy, and I'd be like, I got a stomachache, I gotta go, or like I gotta wake up really early tomorrow for my 12 o'clock psych class. And it was just like kind of, it just wasn't working for him or me. So one day I woke up and I said, okay, Bridget, no more virginity, just like let's shed this shit and let's do this. And Chet didn't know my plan, but I knew my plan. So I went to my 12 o'clock psych class, and then I hung around the library, and it was in Austin in 93, and this was a big deal to me, but there was a Whole Foods, and I was like, wow, there's a Whole Foods. So I went to Whole Foods, and I got some food, and I called him. I said, I'm going to make you dinner. It's going to be really romantic. I'm not of age, so can you buy the wine? I'll make the dinner, and we'll have this like evening. So I came back home, was making the dinner, and okay. So I was making the dinner, and he came over with the wine, and I was thinking, God, I'm really nervous, so I hope he brings his guitar just to kind of like loosen me up a bit, and uses like manly wiles on me. And he didn't bring the guitar, so I was like, wah, wah, wah. And but I had to keep going. I was like, I'm doing this tonight. Nothing's getting in my way. Then at this point, my roommate comes in. Hello. And I'm like, oh, God. everything was going wrong. So I was like, but I'm still going to do this. Like, nothing's getting my way. So he comes over. We're making dinner, drinking wine. I said, put on the TV. I was just super nervous. We put on the TV, and the TV is just like engulfed in flames. It's April 19th, and I'm in Austin, and the Waco massacre was happening at this moment, and that was about the biggest buzzkill. And I had, I had been following this for like about 50 days. I was very intrigued by this whole thing in Waco, and it was upsetting, and I was watching it, and it was super upsetting, and but nothing was going to get in my way. And so David Koresh and the Davidians and the FBI and bulldozers and all the stuff's happening. I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is so interfering. And I was like super upset. I'm not that selfish, but I was upset. And so I was like, but I'm on a roll here. And so we start making out, and he's like, wow, this timing's really odd, And I was like, I know. And then but we just kept going, and then I knew that night I didn't want to go lose my virginity in my room because I shared it with a roommate. And although we didn't share like a bed, it was like two separate beds. It felt like a threesome, but I didn't even have a twosome, and I definitely had a onesome. But so the bottom line is, it was kind of chaotic, and it wasn't probably the best night for this. It was very emotional. It was kind of weird, and he was definitely thrown off by like all of a sudden I was in the mood as there was just major shit going on. And so we laid down the deal, and I guess the point of the story is I don't feel like I grew up that night from losing my virginity. That was kind of like secondary. I don't even remember it. I was emotionally tired from stressing myself out from doing this and from, the whole Waco incident. I felt more like I grew up that night because I was sharing like humility and just this intense moment with another person in history. And maybe that's what growing up was.
Bridget ONeill, ladies and gentlemen, very sexy times, very heterosexy.